Hello everyone. Today I'm going to introduce to you BestSpace by Best Developer. So what is BestSpace? BestSpace is your code passport to everywhere. With BestSpace, writing code becomes a universal language. Say farewell to platform restrictions and hello to seamless development across all the environments. Experience boundless creativity with BestSpace, effortless translation, and cross-platform execution. I welcome you to the future of coding. So as you can see, uh, our project is quite similar to React Native jQuery, where you can write once and deploy everywhere. So let's get started right now into the base of BestSpace. Okay, as you can see here is the main source code for BestSpace. You can find it in my GitHub repository, which I'll give a link in the description. So let's get started by creating a dist folder and a sample JavaScript file. Let's call it test.js. So first of all, I'll be showing you how to use BestSpace in your applications. So let's get started by importing BestSpace. So let's call this BestSpace is equal to require. So I'll be releasing the npm package in a few days. So meanwhile, you can just fork the GitHub repository, and yeah. So now we have imported BestSpace. So with this, we are first going to create a new space. So we'll call this var space. So if you want to create a new space, you can use the space function, and VS Code will tell you all the properties of this function. So you can see that we need to give a config and a name. Now we have to give a config, which is a JSON file, a JSON object. So let's call this the config. So here we have to give certain keys which BestSpace will use to create a new space. So first of all, it's the language. So for now, we'll use JavaScript. So the next thing is what's your space name. So name, let's call it hello world. Next thing is intelligence. So we are using best arrival with best space to give an intelligence and AI intelligence integration. So here we can choose true or false. So for now it's true. And for context, so best arrival will be using this context to uh, think about like what exactly are we doing with this. So we'll say uh, this space just prints a hello world message to the console. A minute. Okay, so we're done with the config. So we can put the config here. And yeah, one more thing, the code, which is the most important. So what code are we going to give? An initial code. So we can modify this whenever you want, and doesn't matter. So I'm using a string literal here. Yes, so yeah, now everything's done. So let's hop onto our terminal and let's go to the dist folder. Let me clear this. And now let's run test.js. Okay, so it can say no such file or directory open to space or space searches. Okay, so for this problem, you can go to the parent directory here, and you can execute like this. So if you don't get any error message or anything, it means that your space has been created. And to verify this, when you fork the GitHub repository, you will be seeing a space.json. So when I pretty print this, you can see that it created a hello world space here. And for another confirmation which will be used later, you can hop on to localhost and the port number is 2127, and you can see that your space server is actively running. Okay, so now we just created a space. Now let's move on to more advanced concepts. So the first of all thing that I wanted to tell here is this. So instead of like giving this code, BestSpace offers you a better code snippet where it has advanced options, and in future versions, that code snippet will also help in linting for a VS Code. So first of all, let's import everything properly. So we'll import space and a class which you can find here as code. So instead of giving a string literal, we can instead give a actual code snippets. So let's create a snippet first. Var snippet is equal to code, a new code, because this is a class code, and we got to initialize this with a language. So by default, BestSpace takes the language of JavaScript, and yeah, that's what we need right now. We can change the language if you want to use other languages. The other languages are supported. Other than JavaScript is Node.js, because the JavaScript we're talking here is about vanilla JS, which works in V8 engine. But this type of JavaScript here, it actually works in Node.js, because we're not going to use a DOM or document object model right now. So the other languages which are supported are Python, C, C++, and Java as of now. And we'll be adding other languages such as Go and Rust later on. So here's the language which we're giving. It's not necessary because by default takes as JavaScript. And yeah, now it's time to make the snippet. So dot, you can see that these are the other methods here. So we can use snippet. So here we are writing the code. So instead of directly writing the code like that, this is a better version, because in later versions like this version 1, and probably in version 2 we'll be adding linting to VS Code also. So yeah. So this basically does the same thing as what you do with just normal string literal hello world, but this is better. Like, we are adding extra code to this. So here we can give the snippet. Okay, so snippet is not a function. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to tell is that depending on the version here, so okay, before executing all of this code, let's all comment this, and let's get something called product. Let's log it as a table. So as you can see, the product name is BestSpace, and it comes from the category of Best Developer. So JavaScript is enabled, so the maze is true, and the version is 1. So if you see in version 0.5, the snippet can be used, but in version 1, this is deprecated. So so the code which is in the GitHub repository consists of both 0.5 and version number 1. So you can change the branch. The main branch shows v1, and the old version shows version 0.5. So as we are in version 1, this is not necessary. We can go with our template string again. Oh yeah, best way is not defined because we are directly getting it as a literal. So I can see everything is fine now. Now comes the other part. So we have the class code, and with the code class you can do so many things. Now for example, if you want to convert a JavaScript code into Python, it can be done, or Python to JavaScript, vice versa, it also can be done. Now where does this actually being used? Now for example, I want to create an AI model with Python. Now I have to like make an entire API and a backend, making it a full stack application where I can link it to the front end with JavaScript. So this is a big headache. So instead of using JavaScript, I mean, yeah, you have to use JavaScript anyways, but instead of doing that, you can just write a simple space code where you can convert this your AI model directly into JavaScript, or vice versa, where if you don't want to use JavaScript, you can also use the Python thing here. I'll be covering it in the next part of this um, s- next part of this playlist. You can find it in the description also. Okay, so let's get started by translating code. So let's call something called var python code is equal to new code again. So here the language we're saying Python. Now as a snippet you can give it as Python. Yeah, and now we have so many different you can see many functions here. So language and snippet are actually variables to be they are public variables, so you can actually access it. And in the TypeScript version we'll be making this private variables, so yeah, you may not be able to access that. This might be a little bit useful if you want to like go to the string prototype snippet and change it in certain situations such as async programming. Okay, so let's translate some code. So we need to give, you can see VS Code is telling us BestSpace to translate code from the from lang to the to lang. So from lang is the from language and to lang is to the to language to which you want to translate to. And we need to give a config and a callback function. So config is an object. I don't know why is VS Code telling it's an any value, and yeah, callback is a function. So we're gonna return void. So first of all, we'll give the config. So as VS Code said, let's go with from lang. So let's go from Python to lang with JavaScript. Now you might wonder that we are going to execute Python code inside a JavaScript file. We are running it with Node, and all of them is JavaScript runtime, but we are actually executing Python here. And now for the callback function, this is totally optional because in the source code you can see the normal callback function does nothing. It just returns null. It doesn't do anything good much. So function. We can just print success, not much. Now this won't work because we're not giving the code. So what code should I translate and run it? So let's make this into a template string literal again. Print hello from Python. Okay, so let's clear the terminal. So I hope this will work. And you can see it prints hello from Python. So you can see that inside a JavaScript file, inside a JavaScript runtime, inside Node.js, we are literally running Python code. And if you don't believe me, like you think like we are just going to replace print with console.log. No, we are actually going to now let's try out by making some functions and running. So let's define a function called sum x. Let's take parameters x and y, and we're just going to return x plus y. That's it. A simple addition thing. And yeah, now let's execute sum by giving 1 and 2. Okay, we got an error. Okay, so this is an indentation error. So when you actually give Python code here, there's a problem because inside JavaScript, VS Code might uh, ignore some indentation. So okay, I think this is the problem here. Yeah, you can see that now it's working, but there's nothing printing because we haven't like printed it. So let's make a new variable. Let's call it answer, a Python variable, and let's print an f string. So let's see whether this works. So the sum of x and y, x and y is, and we can put an f string basically and answer. Okay, I think let's try this again without f string. So we are also not using the latest version of Python because it's basically a bit of AI trained. So and also after a temporary string, an indentation might not work. So we can try by creating a new Python file and making this. Okay, let's print this here itself. Okay, so let's first of all run this. Desktop by, and it works. Now let's try running this from Node by um, const. So we are using file system here. So ff dot read file, and by this we can get the exact indentation. So that's not going to be a problem. So we can use file system or ff here in this case. So we'll be also releasing a better version of file system in BestSpace itself. So this is the Python code. And there's one more exciting feature here. So as I told you before, with this link here, you can actually go here. So we're not getting anything. Now let's print something. Print 1 plus 2 direct. You can see 3 here, and you get the result here if you head over to localhost 127 Python with JavaScript. So we have one more function here. So let's, instead of Python code, let's just copy this here, the C code. So we also support for C. So by C I mean JavaScript to C. JavaScript to C, and instead of this we can say console.log. Now let's try this. We can see it gives us the exact C code, and for a better version you can head over to the same link, but instead of Python and JavaScript, it's JavaScript to C. It gives a better so you can see that I executed this console.log 1 plus 2. So here you go, and this, it converts this into the C code here, and we can run this. So let's check whether this works. It sure it's going to work, but just try out. So if I have this, so we can just execute this. We'll just give in dot slash test slash test dot c. So okay, we got a dot out, a dot out, so dot slash a dot out, and we got it as 3. So you can see here it actually works. And the C, the interpreter here can, I mean, by the JavaScript interpreter here can handle action like complex things, such as, like, let's make an object. So let's see what does C do here. Okay, this is sure a bit complex. So it can also handle memory allocation here. So it's like great. So this is when you can translate code. We have one last feature in code here, where let's put this JavaScript again, where you can actually evaluate code. So evaluate, and we it's kind of similar to these things. So language is JavaScript as usual. We'll just say console.log. This is from JS. Yeah. Let's run this, and you can say this is from JS. So it gets evaluated just like that. So as you can see, we can use this in different applications. Now, for example, if I want to make a desktop application with C, and I don't want to actually write the code in C, so instead I can write this in JavaScript like this. We can convert that into C, and we can evaluate that with JavaScript here. So now, for example, if I want to make a website, I can write in JavaScript. If I want to make a desktop application, I can write, instead of writing that in C or in C sharp, I can use JavaScript to write it. If I want to make a mobile application, I can convert that to Swift for iOS, and Kotlin or Java for Android. To make like an AI model there, of course I can convert this JavaScript thing to Python. So in the next part of in this session, we will be showing about how to do the same thing in Python. Now, if you're not comfortable with JavaScript, or if you don't want to use JavaScript, like in certain cases, like for data analysis, you might want to use Python in this case. So yeah, that's basically the how to create BestSpace, and we'll be making the UI with Best Developer. I will be giving the code in the description, or you can just go to my GitHub repository link here. And yeah, you can get the code. You can fork it and try it out. So I hope you enjoy my product and this video. And if you really like it, you can like and subscribe, like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.